Y'all should did practice live.
Right. We'll have to tell you about that, Queen. I believe that's my fault.
It's all good. It's so many pieces that go into it, trying to get all these pieces to line up correctly. All right. So let me double check. I think we are just about good. All right, let me check my Facebook. She laughing at us. We got everybody in the building. What's up? What's up? What's up? Let us know where y'all tapping in from. Where are you located? Where are you located at? All right, Smitty. So I'm getting ready to tag you on this Facebook post.
We should be good.
Smitty Smith. Let me see. Is that where am I getting feedback from? Coming from me.
North Carolina. What part of North Carolina?
Can you still hear me, Smitty?
Yep.
All right, cool. Just double checking.
Fayetteville. Yes, I lived in Fayetteville for many years.
You know, I almost went to college down in Fayetteville. I went
Fayetteville
on
State?
I went on a college tour down there, and for whatever reason, I was like, I like it down here.
Yeah, Bronco Pride.
I don't know, for whatever reason. And then I was a track runner, so we went to visit St. Augustine's, which is
Raleigh.
big track school. All right,
Hey, shout out to Lauren.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'm trying to add you. I'm trying to I'm trying to figure out where this feedback is coming from. Is it on my end or your end?
I think that's on your end.
All right. So we're gonna get started. Give us about 2 minutes. I promise we're gonna get started. What's up, Lauren in the building? Yeah, we got Fayetteville in the building.
Yes.
We got I2M in the building. We got everybody coming through. All right, Smitty. I am trying to add you on Facebook, but I cannot. It's the same problem I was having earlier. I couldn't. Every time I put in Smitty Smith, it's bringing up all these other people except you.
Did you get the link that I text you?
Yeah, but I'm actually doing it from my laptop.
Got you.
So can I find you? Are you on Facebook now, by chance?
No, let me go back.
Yep. Share. And we are going to get started in 1 minute. All right. Okay. So we'll have to figure it out. I don't want to wait too long. I want to go ahead and get started. And what we'll do is we'll continue to reshare on Facebook after the fact. We also get a lot of people who watch over the next 24 hours. But if you get a chance, Smitty, just go to my Facebook page and share the feed to your timeline. And then that way I don't have to tag you in it. It'll just pop up on your feed anyway. But while you got it? You got it?
Not yet. I just got on.
Okay, no problem. As you are doing that, I'll formally welcome everybody to another edition of Wealth Talk Tuesdays. And Wealth Talk Tuesdays, it kind of has evolved over time. And what I've come to kind of summarize it as right now is really highlighting the path of entrepreneurship. And I truly firmly believe in the importance of entrepreneurship as a vehicle for creating wealth, and creating an avenue of freedom for yourself, for your family, and really just taking more ownership over your life. And just because you might, if if you work a 9 to 5, that doesn't mean you're not an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur by definition is somebody who's willing to take a risk in order to make a profit. And there are some people who are really just natural born entrepreneurs where they're like, yo, I can't be a part of the system, and I gotta find a way, to make it happen. And then there's some people who are more like a little more conservative, and they're like, I'm okay, working and building my own little thing on the side, but I'm not a diehard entrepreneur like that. So wherever you fall on that spectrum is okay. I just hope through Wealth Talk Tuesdays and by interviewing entrepreneurs, I'm able to shed a little bit more light on the entrepreneur's path. Now, I chose real estate as my path, but I know that real estate is not the path for everyone when it comes to fulfilling their, really just fulfilling their passion, fulfilling their mission on this earth. So Wealth Talk Tuesdays gives us an opportunity to sit down with other entrepreneurs and to discuss their life journey, their entrepreneurial journey, so that we can get some nuggets from them, hopefully get a little bit more inspiration and a little bit more motivation, as well as just kind of figure things out for ourselves. Although we all may be entrepreneurs in different industries and in different professions, entrepreneurship is a science. And by continuing to study business and continuing to study entrepreneurship, we can get better in our own individual lives. So welcome to another edition of Wealth Talk Tuesdays. We have a special guest who I can't call her by government. I gotta call her Smitty. I'm like, Smitty, I can't call you Lisa. I gotta call you Smitty. But we have Lisa Smitty Smith in the building. So Smitty, if you would just briefly give us a quick welcome, and I'll follow up and tell the people a little bit more about you.
All right, so good evening, everyone. As Kevin said, my name is Smitty. I am a coach. I'm an entrepreneur located in Baltimore, Maryland. I'm super excited to connect with my I2M brother, Kevin, and just want to chat. We chat all the time, so we just want to have a conversation. So thank you for joining, and let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Smitty, do me a favor and just check your volume. I'm getting a lot of feedback, and I think it's on your end because I muted my computer.
Okay.
So, one of the sources you got the sound coming out of, you got to mute, I think. Oh, that's perfect. All right. So, if you're watching on Facebook, we're streaming live on Facebook. We're streaming live on YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, and of course, we are here on Instagram. So if you're watching this, drop a good comment in the comment section. Let us know you're watching. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. If we don't catch them while we're talking, we'll try to circle back and answer them later after the feed. And then also let me know if you're on Facebook that you aren't having any issues with hearing the actual audio, since we've been trying to get everything set up correctly. Now let's move into the meat of everything. I want to give you all a little bit of bio about Smitty. One thing that you'll quickly find out about Smitty is that she's been putting in work. She's been putting in work. She is a grinder. So let's get into it. So a visionary, creator, entrepreneur, and motivator, Smitty is considered a thought leader with over a decade and a half of being self-made. Smitty has curated and owned businesses ranging from retail to performance management. Her versatility and leadership skills have led the way, providing opportunities to younger generations and beyond. Inspired by her parents' own professional endeavors early in life, and influenced by a heavy presence of military both in and out of her family, Smitty set out to achieve excellence in education, setting business in her sights. And while serving in the Air Force, Smitty she attained her associates in applied science at the Community College of the Air Force. She then went on to successfully earn an Associate's of Arts and a bachelor's degree in business administration from Campbell University. And with her interests piqued by certain internships at radio stations and assisting promoters in the entertainment industry, she then pursued and received a Master of Science degree in the entertainment business at Full Sail University. She's passionate about shifting the mindsets of those around her, and her hope for community leadership and building generational wealth make her a trailblazer. She believes everyone was created with a purpose and has something unique to offer to the world. With her passion at the forefront and the goal to create something much bigger than herself, she founded HITM. That's HIT, comma or apostrophe M, the four letters HITM, which are derived from the commonly used phrase history in the making. HITM illustrates one's determination to not only succeed, but to invoke a legacy. HITM represents the lifestyle of those devoted to making their dreams reality. HITM is a mindset, a lifestyle, and a movement. And in addition to becoming an innovator with HITM, Smitty would discover a new passion for health and fitness. 2 years later, she went on to obtain her personal training certification, and that's when she began Tanks and Cutoffs, her fitness and lifestyle enterprise. Now, I'm gonna say one thing before I finish. She had micro enterprise in her bio, and I said, I gotta cut that out. There's nothing micro. We ain't doing no micro over here. We talking enterprises, right? Like just the word enterprise cannot coexist with the word micro, right? We're not gonna do that. Her fitness and lifestyle enterprise, and through Tanks and Cutoffs, she continues to uphold her core values by helping clients accomplish their lifestyle goals through fitness and a change in point of view. And she utilizes her platform to motivate and empower her clients to reach new heights. And finally, while continuing to manifest her own dreams, Smitty shares her endeavors with new and aspiring innovators. Leading by example, Smitty feels with hard work and dedication, one can accomplish anything. Virtual round of applause. Good people. Let's give this woman a virtual round of applause. I told y'all she's been putting in work. She's been putting in work. So welcome again, Smitty. It's good to have you. Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, I can hear you. I just adjusted my volume from my laptop. So I got to remember that it's going to come from the cell phone and not the laptop. But yeah, definitely welcome. So one thing we talked about a whole lot of stuff, and when it comes to entrepreneurship, she got nuggets for days. And when we start to kind of break apart those nuggets, man, I hope that you all are able to get something out of it. But where I want to start is one thing that I was really excited about and just felt the power behind was, she's got what do we call it? Trademarks, right? We got trademark ownership in the building, right? Trademark ownership. So can you tell us a little bit about what it means to have a trademark, and what do you have that is trademarked? And then what made you kind of go down a path of pursuing a trademark?
Important to me, the foundation of business. I went to school for business, and so just the foundation has always been important to me. So when I think about trademarks and just taking care of business, it's something that you have to do. You have to protect your name. You have to protect your intellectual property. So for me, I've had different business endeavors, and the foundation has always been, whether it was trademark, whether it was the type of business, just the foundation is very important. So I know I have some I2M members in here, family, and I know Creek that that's something that she definitely reiterates and says all the time, but you have to take care of business. So for me, I also believe in staying within your wheelhouse. So for me, it was important to get in contact with a trademark attorney. Even though you can go to USPTO.gov to do it yourself, it is can be a pretty intensive process, so I was the expert for them to help me in that area. So hit them, I can't trademark and come use phrases, but hit them, it's trademark. I have a mantra that I say every single day.
Hey, Smitty.
24 hours in a day.
Before I stop you, I think you got to turn your volume back on your laptop because they're not able to hear you on Facebook. My apologies. We'll just deal with a little bit of feedback. It's okay.
Sorry about that, guys.
All right, perfect. There we go. So yeah, so she was saying that she's not able to trademark history in the making, but she has a mantra that she says every single day. So tell us a little bit more about the mantra and continue on with how you went about it with the trademark.
So I couldn't. Let me see if I can turn this down. I apologize, guys.
That's all good. We are here.
Maybe on this end. Okay. So although I could not trademark the commonly used phrase history in the making, I could trademark the acronym HIT'em. So that is a trademark. And my mantra that I say every day, you only have 24 hours in a day, maximize them. Also something that I say every single morning for like the last 8 years. And so that is a trademark as well. And so when I think about my assets, I do list my intellectual property as well. So when I think about my investments and things like that, and what I have ownership of, intellectual property is right there with my stock and everything else as well. As far as the process, like I was saying, I hired an attorney because I just wanted to make sure, even though you pay a little bit more when you hire attorney, well, a lot more is definitely worth it because they're going to keep up with that process when you're getting it done initially, and then also throughout the years. So if there's any type of, matter of fact, I received something in the mail not too long ago. And I reached out to my attorney and they're like, hey, Smitty, that we reach out to you and keep you just stored in the trash. So for me, it's just very important to let the experts handle it to save you money in the long run and also to save you time because we only have 24 hours and we got to maximize them. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love it. I got to tell you, I've only known Smitty for now I guess like 4 months. We went through our I2M program together. And first, you can follow Smitty. She's mostly active on Instagram and Twitter. But I can tell you, every time that post hit or you watch her story, it catches on, and you find yourself saying, "Yo, you only got 24 hours in a day. You got to maximize them." And what I like about having that mantra, like, for me and a lot of entrepreneurs, right? Like we run 24 hours a day, we don't sleep as much as we should. Our brains are always going. And that's just kind of the lifestyle. But when you add that mantra on top of it, it just gives it a little extra power. And then repeating it every single day, right? Like you only got 24 hours in a day. You got to maximize it. I love it. And the reason why I started off asking you about the intellectual property piece is because out of all the people that I've interviewed, we talk about entrepreneurship, we talk about business, we talk about turning these dreams into reality, but it's not until you become official that you're documented, right, with the U.S. Patent and Trade Office, that you've taken an idea literally out of your head and you've registered that with the federal government, that now gives you legal power. There is no other medium, there's no other metric that can validate for you. If you don't believe already in the power of your own thoughts and your own ability, there is nothing more powerful than confirming for you that your thoughts are powerful, and that they are so powerful that you need to protect them from a legal standpoint, because that's how valuable they are. So I think it's outstanding, and I think it's just a very powerful statement altogether.
Yep. Absolutely. I agree 100%.
Oh, we got Nikki in the building.
Coach.
We got Nikki in the building. Thank you. We got the GOAT in the building, man. Nikki is in the building. Deeper than a brand. This is Nikki S. If you are all of our entrepreneurs, matter of fact, everybody on here is watching. One of the things that when we talk about entrepreneurship, and especially because I do a lot of interviews, a lot of entrepreneurs are not ready to present themselves as a personal brand. So if you want to learn how to not only present yourself as a personal brand, but also do it on an online medium, you got to connect with Nikki. You got to connect with Deeper Than a Brand. It is essential as an entrepreneur that you are able to build a personal brand. So shout out to Nikki in the building and the rest of the I2M family. So let's take it back a little bit. We talked about some trademarks. Let's go back a little bit to your journey. If I'm not mistaken, you're technically, I guess you would say second generation entrepreneur, because your parents were entrepreneurs, right?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit, having parents who are entrepreneurs, because a lot of people, right, are first generation entrepreneurs. I can see some now that I know for sure, and they have children who are coming up. And so for them, they may still be at a point where they're trying to figure out how to advise their children as to whether or not, they should go a traditional route, whether they should pursue entrepreneurship. So what was it like for you growing up in a household with entrepreneurs?
Well, I got to be honest, for me, it wasn't necessarily what they did, but it was more of what I saw and what they didn't say. But the most important thing was the support, because even at this age, I have friends that have the desire to become entrepreneurs, but don't have the support. So for me, anything that I ever wanted to do, my parents encouraged me to do it, although, my father did, say, hey, you can go to school, but you don't go to school to get a good job. You go to school for the education, but the sky's the limit. You can accomplish anything that you want to accomplish. You can be anybody that you want to be. So for me, although I did go to college and I was in the military and things like that, I always just knew that there was something greater, and we may get into purpose too, but, just seeing my father, own multiple businesses. I grew up in the church. My mother's a pastor, and so it was just seeing. So oftentimes it's not what you say, is, what you see and what you do that your children can see, so you jumping out on faith, starting that business and following through will probably mean much more than what you can actually, tell them just seeing you, do it. And that's what it was for me mainly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's huge, especially when I think about it now, because I've got, my daughter is now 19, 20 months years old, almost 2. And of course we can tell her things, but when she's an observer and she watches, right? She watches everything you do, and she only has to see it one time and she's mimicking it. So as they're growing up, if you're saying one thing and you're doing another, right, there's going to be that contradiction, and they're probably going to follow what you do. But if you're an entrepreneur, they're going to see, right? Like it's funny. I've got this picture of my daughter, and she's literally sitting on a chair. She's got the laptop out. She got the cell phone in her hand, and she don't know what she's doing, but she's going to work. And she's going to work because she's seen and she's growing up in a household where we're grinding, right? And we're putting in work, but we're not just grinding, for a job. We're also grinding to build something that we believe in, that we're passionate about. You talked about purpose, right? And finding your purpose. So it's definitely, it's definitely interesting to see that. But I like how you said, hey, you can get an education, right? The education is still important. You got a lot of degrees, and I'll ask you if, in a second, if that kind of helped you find your purpose. But in addition to the purpose, right? Or in addition to the education, that literally the sky is the limit. So you can get that education, but that doesn't have to hinder your ability to pursue something that you feel you're greater for, or destined to do something greater. So I like that a lot. So with your education, because it kind of looks like you were doing an entrepreneur's journey where you're, kind of following things that you're interested in, and you were going to school for this, going to school for that. Did that help you develop and figure out what your ultimate purpose was or is?
Again, I've just been transparent. No.
Yeah, let us know. You said no.
No, because I initially went to college. I was in I went to the Air Force, and so that opened up the door for me to go to college. Initially, I wasn't thinking about college, to be honest. I've always been a go-getter. Sometimes hustler gets a bad name, but, in a good way. I remember in school, I was the person that, sold candy, or, I'll get your lunch, and, and I'll go get something out the vending machine. That's just, been me. Like I said, I came from a household of entrepreneurs. So for me, when I got into the military and got introduced to, I was like, okay, well, I'll go to school. And so I went to school for business, but, I don't think that it's necessary, anything like that. But it's just, I was like, hey, I'm in the Air Force and I can go to school, it'll be paid for. So I decided to go to college, but I naturally always was a go-getter and a hustler, and knew that, I wanted to, have more. I wanted to be able to provide certain things. But going to the purpose, I think your purpose is something that you are created with, and it's something as you continue to go and you seek and you align yourself, then you will discover what your purpose is. So school definitely did not help me with that. It was something I was born with, and something that I had to grow, into, and something I had to seek God for. I am a believer, and I had to say, hey, what is my purpose? Why am I here? Why did you create me? Because I'm not here by accident. So that's how I've, found out what my purpose is. And, my prayer is just always to let my passion align with what my purpose is.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's honesty is the best policy, as they say. For me, I look at it as, maybe college helped you. I think college helps in a lot of different ways. And if it may not have helped you find your purpose per se, it may have helped you decide what you don't want to do. Right. Like I went to, it's funny because I went off to school kind of the same way. They were like, yo, you need to go to college. It was like, all right, you need to run track. I was an athlete. It was like, all right, let's do it. So, went to school, chose a major. And of course, going through that process, one of the things that definitely solidified for me was like, yo, I don't want to be an accountant. It's so funny because I was laughing with my wife that, I went to school for accounting. I have an accounting degree, right? Like I'm not a CPA, but I'm an accountant. But that experience showed me what I did not want to do, at least to some degree. So let's talk a little bit about the Air Force too. I think that's exciting. It's dope. You're actually the first veteran, I believe, that I've been able to interview on the show. And I have very, very high respect for anyone who is going through the military. So tell us a little bit about your military experience.
It was amazing, and shout out to Queen, who is also a vet and a fellow Air Force vet. So shout out to Queen, and I don't think that Shadida is on, but shout out to Nikki as well. So shout out to all of the vets. You know, I absolutely love the military. It was my first time being away from home, you know, so a lot of those experiences, you know, was, you know, scary leaving home. But, you know, I met a lot of great people. Like I said, at the age we at, you know, going to school, it was kind of, we were raised like, go to school, get a good job, you know? So, you know, I went to the Air Force, I met a lot of people. And like I said, I got introduced to college, you know, was away from home, had a lot of great experiences. I was logistics, so I was supply. So, you know, it was an amazing experience. Like I said, it was my first time being away from home and just meeting other people and being away from, you know, the church and my parents and things like that. So it was a good time and just really, just really a learning experience, you know. But they say train a child up in the way it should go and it will not depart from them. So it is what it is, but it was an amazing experience. Just, you know, just getting out there and just, you know, really discovering those things, like I said, because, you know, you train a child out. And so just being out on my own and having to, you know, develop, you know, character and just, you know, different things like that. But it was an amazing experience.
Yeah, I think that's
7
dope.
years.
Yeah, I think that's dope, man. The military was just like never for me, for, you know, just ideological reasons. But as I've gotten older and, you know, and matured a bit, it's like, man, I kind of wish I did go, you know, to the military. And I almost did back in 2008, but, you know, everything didn't, timing and circumstances didn't work out. But that's cool. So let's talk about one of the things that I appreciate with the military too, especially now being an entrepreneur, is the discipline aspect, right? So let's talk a little bit about discipline and how, or if the military and, you know, your experience in the military helped with your discipline as an entrepreneur. And then just what are some of your thoughts around discipline as it relates to entrepreneurship?
That's a very unique question. And it's a question that, to be honest, that I get asked a lot. And I will, and I wonder what Queen would say about this actually, because I feel like the military, it is, you already have these things, right? And I feel like it may magnify, but I feel like it doesn't make you something that you're not. And I'd be very interested to see what Queen has to say about this. Okay. But, you know, I think that it came from, like I said, my background, you know, my parents, you know, seeing them and observing them and their work ethic and things like that. Discipline as far as an entrepreneur is you must have it. You cannot, you know, be successful without being disciplined. Queen agree. Okay. I had to check with Big
you got it. You got it.
Yeah. I feel like it definitely doesn't make you something that you're not, you know. But discipline and entrepreneurship, you know, you have to be disciplined because so one thing that I learned early on, so one of my first businesses that I owned was a retail clothing store. And so before I opened that retail clothing store, I was a manager. I was 18 years old, but I was like a third key manager at in a mall at a local retail clothing store. And so I was like, you know, man, like everybody's coming in and they want to get their jabots from Smitty or their, you know, I don't know, Echo from Smitty. I was like, man, this is pretty lucrative. I want to do my own thing. And you know, I quickly realized that when you're an entrepreneur, the main difference between being an entrepreneur and working for someone else, there's no rule book, right? So when I went into that store every day, even though I opened it and I did the deposits, there was still, you know, policies and procedures for me to follow. If the store didn't make the budget for the day, I still got paid. You know, I didn't have to worry about, you know, if I was going to get paid or not. What happens if, you know, someone gets hurt? You know, I didn't have to worry about, the way my business was set up, liabilities and things like that. So, if you're not disciplined when it comes to business, then you're going to be in trouble because there's no rule book. You have to make the rules and you have to follow the rules, and it's all left up to you. Good days, bad days, it all falls on you. So you have to be disciplined. You just can't, there may not be days off at some point. You can't, stay in bed all day. You have to get up, you have to put the work in. Nobody's going to tell you to do it. You have to do it. So if you're not disciplined, you're not going to be successful as an entrepreneur. No way.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. You definitely, you touched on it. And one thing that I like that you brought up, you talked about, one of the big differences is there's no rule book. And the irony behind it, one of the ironies behind being an entrepreneur is like, we kind of rail against the system. Like we want this freedom to express ourselves. We want this freedom to move, this freedom to operate. But on the flip side, we still need a certain level of structure, right? A certain level of the rule book telling us what to do so that we can maximize our effectiveness and our efficiency. Except the rule book that we're looking to is the rule book that we have to create for ourselves. And one of the challenging things for entrepreneurs, especially if you're coming into entrepreneurship and you're not buying into a franchise, you're not buying into an established system, is figuring out how to create that rule book for yourself. And that's like one of the levels of entrepreneurship. And you get to a point where you have to really adopt the systems and you have to become systems minded. And it's those systems that you're able to put in place that then allow you to scale your business, to be more efficient, more effective in your business, to have people come into your business and work your business. But a lot of times, because as entrepreneurs, we get so caught up in either the vision or the business, or we have to be the ones to do everything, we never get to a point where we build that rule book and we build those systems for ourselves so that we can then step out and really have the freedom of movement and expression that we ultimately want. So that rule book is key. And there are actually a lot of good books on systems and building out systems. One that I can think of right now, I think it's called Scale or Fail. I'll try to give y'all a couple book nuggets, man. I got them for days. One is called Scale or Fail. The other one is called The System is the Secret. There are a couple more, but I'll as I think about them, I'll try to put them in the chat. But yeah, a lot of good books on systemization. So yeah, that's good. I like how you said the military doesn't make you, something that you're not. So I think the lesson there for anyone who might be struggling with discipline, because one thing I've learned over time too is that discipline muscle, we have to develop it in the areas that we have to develop it in order for us to be successful as an entrepreneur. So there's a phase where you may be struggling with certain aspects of your business that you have to be disciplined in. So I think the lesson there is you have it in you. You just have to be conscious and you have to be willing and you have to put in that work to strengthen that discipline muscle so that you can become a better entrepreneur. What do you think about that?
Like Kurt says, you got to get the reps in.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta put them reps in. You gotta put them reps in. So let's talk a little bit about, you've had a lot of experience, right, in entrepreneurship in terms of doing different businesses and stuff like that. What do you think about just as an entrepreneur when you're trying to figure things out? You may go through different businesses or business ideas until you get to that point where things kind of click for you, or you find, what you're really passionate about aligned with your purpose. What are some of your thoughts on just getting through the phase of entrepreneurship where you might have, say we have somebody watching and, they started a business and they failed and now people don't believe in them, or, they started a business and they want to do something else and, they're scared to move, or just any thoughts around, that experience as an entrepreneur?
Well, I would say, so just to give you a little background, this is good. So, my first business, my retail clothing store, it had been my dream, like I said, I was 18 years old, 18 or 19, and I just wanted to show, to be that person. Back then, I think I had just read like Diddy's, story, and I'm like, man, I want to be that person that's in, the neighborhood, that's like, with hard work and dedication, you can achieve anything. And I had my store for 2 years, and I had to dissolve it, and it was devastating to be honest, because I felt like I had let everyone down, include, because I just wanted to be an example. I was bringing in, the children from the church. They were interning, and just showing them that, hey, college may not be for you, the military may not be for you, but entrepreneurship, may be for you. So when I had to dissolve that business is really when I learned about resilience. My mom was like, hey, have you heard, do you know what resilience, means? And she talked to me about, just bouncing back. And from me dissolving that business, because through that business, I had a strategic alliance. I was, doing, fashion shows. I had a strategic alliance with like a photography studio, and we would have college students from Fayetteville State, as a matter of fact, doing like my little 4x6 UV coded promotional cards. And so, I was linking up with the local radio station and things like that.
Yeah,
so
you was moving.
I was already doing some,
I said, yeah, you was moving. You had a lot going on.
Yeah, so.
And a lot of people knew about your business.
So, I was already doing some things through my business. And so when I had to dissolve that business, I was like, after crying and, being like, man, like, this is not good. Another business was birthed. And that's actually where it hit them, because back then it was hit them. It was a promotional company. And that's where it was really birthed. I was just really just kind of thinking about what was going on and just the things I had done. And I was like, this happened, but I'm gonna bounce back. I can still be that example, that with hard work and dedication. And so another business was birthed. And so I would say is, first thing is nothing beats a try, so if you can think it, you can achieve it. It may not be easy, it may take some, hard work, dedication, but, if God gave you the thought, then you can do it, so I would say go for it. Don't worry about, what people say, it's the journey, and all these things seem like, they're just like, oh, these are just old cliches that, people say, but no, these things are very true. So, try it. If you are in something, another lesson I learned is that if you're doing something and you see, okay, it's not working, it's okay, because sometimes I've also had situations where I stayed in things too long. And I'm like, okay, I had to get to the point where I'm like, all right, you've lost too much. I know this is your baby, but this is not it. So, you also have to be open to, maybe feedback from maybe a mentor or a coach or your inner circle, but just not anybody, because sometimes you can become so attached to an idea that it's like, I don't want to let it go, but it's just, is not it, and you have to be able to have resources or to know or have the wherewithal to understand the difference between when you're just getting something going and clicking and when it's time to maybe put that baby a rest, put it aside, and because it may be something you have to go back to. I always say every good idea is not a godly idea. Every good idea is not the right time for it. So again, it's going to take some, personal development. It's going to take having a support system around you. But you'll know, because bringing me fast forward here to my health and wellness, that was something, because later I got into talent management and things like that. And when it came to health and wellness and fitness, it was just like, it just clicked. It was something that I was just doing because I enjoyed doing it and it resonated with other people. And it just had that momentum. And I was like, wait, you know, for a minute, I was trying to still do my other businesses and do this over here. And then I had to really make the decision. I said, no, I need to put my focus here, because where your focus goes, where your focus goes, the energy goes. I think I said that right. Yeah. But
so.
And so that's exactly what happened. So, you know, I had to put some things aside, you know, and said, okay, I'm going to come back to them. But right now is not the time. I need to be here.
Yeah.
So I hope I didn't go in a circle there. I hope that made sense.
No, not at all. You just preached a sermon for us, PK. You just preached a sermon. And I'm glad I asked that question, because as I was listening, I realized that for every entrepreneur out there, those are some very valuable responses, some very valuable insight, because we all have gone through that process where we may have, like some people were saying in the comments, hey, I might have stayed in something too long, or something, you know, that's meant for right now may not be forever. I think every entrepreneur can relate to everything you said. And I think it helped some people with their current situation gain some perspective on their current situation, help some people gain perspective on a past situation, and has helped prepare some of us for some future generation situations, right? So no, definitely very, very valuable. And just to kind of recap some of the things you mentioned just being resilient. You mentioned the ability to take and receive feedback from the right sources. You talked about just trying something. You talked about, you know, just overall self-expression, and how these opportunities may come as a result of, right, the closing down or the dissolving. So you talked about a lot of good stuff. So I appreciate the honesty too, right? Because it's painful to have to go through the experience of dissolving something and then telling people about it, right? Like I can relate. I know what that feels like. But as an entrepreneur, that's part of the journey of entrepreneurship. And one of the things that I like to talk about, and people don't really talk about it a lot, and sometimes people don't make it through this point, but I call it being basically a full cycle CEO, right? Because when we talk about things going full cycle, like for example, yesterday I was talking about, you know, property. There's a full cycle with property. There's the identifying, the acquiring, the owning, and the disposing of. That's a full cycle. Well, a full cycle CEO is somebody who started, they took the business here, they had to dissolve the business, right? You start, you fail, and then you're able to come back. That's a full cycle CEO, because some people, one, they never even get started, and then two, they cannot recover from the experience of having to dissolve something. So having the ability to come back, to try again, to continue to go forward and trying to figure out your path and your destiny and your purpose, that makes you a full cycle CEO. And I'll try to finish here. We got a few more minutes. So I don't want to take up all of the time, but the value that as a full cycle CEO, right? And this is something that we can drop gems on when it comes to establishing, you know, what your worth is, but your worth is determined through your knowledge, your experience, right? Well, if you're a full cycle CEO, that means you can go into an enterprise, you can diagnose what's going on with this enterprise, and you have the knowledge, the ability, you have the bandwidth and the experience to say, yo, I can take this organization, I can take this company, I can turn it around, and I can bring it back into a prosperous enterprise. Everybody cannot handle that pressure. Everybody cannot handle that mental journey that you have to go through, because there's a lot of emotion behind it. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot that goes into it. So I commend you for being a full cycle CEO and having the confidence to share that story with us. I appreciate it. So it's 7:51. We did get started a little bit late, but I promised I'd be done by 8 o'clock, because I got it. It's my night with the baby, so I'm kind of taking time away. But tell us a little bit. So you've got something exciting going on right now. I know we're about halfway through, but tell us a little bit about the movement that you got going on right now, and how things are going with that.
Okay, so I have right now the 30-30 goal getter fitness challenge, which it is a fitness challenge because it is 30 days of 30-minute workouts that I'm doing. But in addition to, it's about being setting a goal and accomplishing it and being consistent with that goal for 30 days straight. So it is going amazing. And I don't want to go on a tangent about it, but it's just, it represents so much, to be honest, because for one, you talked about how long we've known each other and how we met through the I2M. And we all know we have our family on here with that, represents for us. And so for me, launching that challenge was really a milestone for me because it was something that I wanted to do for a while, but I was really battling some limited beliefs and some confident issues, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was sitting on it and I was like, I was like, I don't know, it has to be perfect. What about this? What about that? And going through that 12-week boot camp just really sparked something. It just really sparked something in me. And I was like, you know what? I don't have to know all the answers. Like, I just need to do it. And I still launched it, was still being kind of hesitant too. And launching it, the support that I got was amazing. It got to the point where I actually had people after cutoff that were like, hey, we want to sign up. And so to me, it's just something that is really special because going through the process with health and wellness, I have the opportunity to assist and to be a part of so many people's journeys with reaching their goal. But what they don't realize is that at the same time, I'm also going through a journey and they're helping me, get through some things myself. So for me, them getting started, a lot of them were getting started on their fitness journey. Some of them were getting restarted. And that was one goal when they signed up. They checked off their first goal. That was their first win. And me presenting that to the world was me checking off a goal myself. So it's something that's very special to me, something that I'm enjoying, every moment of it. And, I've been getting a lot of positive feedback, from the challenge. So it's going really well. I had the opportunity to, connect with our sister, Lauren, who is in real estate, but she's also a fitness enthusiast and monster too. And so just even, talking with her through the process was very helpful. And just, again, the support from my I2 family, but it's going amazing. I saw a person or two in here from the challenge, so I don't know if they're still here, but maybe they could drop something in the comments. But it is going wonderful.
That's beautiful. I'm glad. I tell you all the time, I'm glad to hear everything is going well, and you dropped a lot of good nuggets for entrepreneurs. One, what I like, you started off saying, hey, it's a health and wellness challenge, it's a fitness challenge, but it represents so much more than that. It represents setting goals. It represents accomplishment, and it represents commitment, right? So sometimes some of the things that we do, there's what it literally is, right? But then there's also the meaning behind it. So I certainly commend you on getting past a lot of those limiting beliefs, which I think a lot of entrepreneurs have. And I concur. We've been talking about this on the last couple of lives, but how powerful and impactful I2M has been in the entire I2M family, and how we've been supporting each other and everything like that. And I think in a way we all have been getting past our own insecurities, our own issues with confidence, our own issues with whatever, releasing things out into the atmosphere. And I feel like if there's a group of 50 of us that went through. So if there's 50 of us going through this, right? I can dare say that that's a good representation of what other entrepreneurs are going through in their own realm. So if you're watching this and there is some type of idea, some type of program, something new that you've been trying to birth in your business or that you envision for your business, for your enterprise, you have to figure out a way to get past those insecurities. You have to find a way to get past that low self-esteem, that lack of self-confidence, that inferiority complex, whatever it is, however it is labeled, however it is described, you have to find a way to get past it. And for myself, for Smitty, one of the things that has been beneficial for us is being able to align ourselves with like-minded entrepreneurs who are trying to accomplish, who are trying to achieve the same things that we're trying to accomplish. Now we have totally different businesses, but we've been able to find commonality in a certain area, and then that has opened the doors for us to realize that we have so much more in common, that we're now able to support each other in the endeavors that we're doing professionally. So I highly encourage you to find those entrepreneurs, find that common theme where you can align with other entrepreneurs and be willing to open yourself up, right? You got to be willing to share. You have to be willing to engage. You have to be willing to support. And the more you're able to give, the more that you are able to receive. So yeah, thank you for sharing everything that you shared with us and sharing your journey. So I'll ask you, you are doing you're doing a 30-day challenge. You do take clients over the internet, I guess I should say, right? Like you do virtual, or you can take clients over the internet. So are you accepting any new fitness clients right now? And if so, how should people, should they reach out to you, send you the DM or whatever? But are you accepting any new clients right now?
Yes. So I do in-person training, virtual and online programming. I am accepting new clients. On Instagram, you can go to my link tree. There's a fitness introduction there where you can introduce yourself and also schedule. Sorry, I had my deeper than the brand meeting alarm, but you can go to my Instagram, to my link tree, to do an introduction and to schedule a time for discovery call, so I can learn more about your goals and we can, come up with a plan to meet them. But yes, if you are in, I'm located in Baltimore. So if you're in Baltimore, I train at a local gym in Columbia, Maryland. So if you're not in Baltimore, then we can do online training as well.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. And if you're watching on Facebook, I actually just put her Instagram handle in the comments. If you're watching on YouTube or LinkedIn, her Instagram handle is at Tanks and Cutoffs, right? At Tanks and Cutoffs, I believe is the correct handle. So make sure you reach out to her.
Yes.
On IG. And if you are looking for a little extra motivation, a little extra accountability in your health and wellness, she is certified, right? She got her credentials. She's experienced, and when you watch her story, you definitely gonna get motivated because Smitty is up early. She's on the grind, and she's usually in the gym by 4 a.m. So she's working around the clock to make sure that she can provide her services to her clients and everything. So with that being said, it is 8 p.m. I'm gonna ask if you have any parting words or advice for your fellow entrepreneurs that are watching, and just want to thank you again for giving us an hour of your time out of your busy schedule.
Well, first of all, thank you, Kevin. I really appreciate the opportunity. You have been an amazing resource as well, even taking the time to come up to spend time with me to chat and to offer your expertise in business and feedback and your resources and things like that. So I appreciate you greatly in this opportunity to be a part of Wealth Talk Tuesdays. I would just say, follow your dreams. If you have, you know, an idea, like I said before, and I'm sorry, Zoom, I'm reaching all over you, but if you have an idea, if you can think it, then you can do it. You know, a lot of times I've had ideas and I've sat on them, and then I'm like, man, I'll see it and I'm like, wait, I had that idea first, but I didn't execute. And that's the difference. So execution is key. Get around, like you said before, some like-minded people. Again, I'm a church girl, so it's the Bible says if two or three are gathered together, you know. So I know, like, even without 3 a.m. calls, or if it was Zoom sessions, it's just something magical, just something beautiful about when like-minded people come together. Something's going to get accomplished, something is going to be birthed, you know, something is going to come about. So, you know, get around like-minded people, you know. Invest in yourself will be the last thing I would say. You know, last year, at the end of last year, well, probably about midway, I said, listen, all bets on me. You know, I'm not a stranger to investing in myself, but I said, listen, I'm going to focus on this one thing. This is where my energy is going to go. This is where my time is going to go. This is where my effort is going to go. This is where my money is going to go. And man, it has been amazing since I made the decision to say, hey, it's all about me, and this is where the focus is going to go. So execute, get around like-minded people, because something beautiful is going to happen. And you know, the last thing is, you know, invest in yourself and bet on yourself.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. And I'm actually just going to close summarizing that, but I'm going to summarize it in reverse. All bets on you. You got to be willing to bet on yourself. When you make that bet on yourself, get around like-minded people. And after you get around like-minded people, after you bet on yourself, most importantly, you got to execute. You got to execute. So with that being said, everybody, we appreciate you. We appreciate our audience on Instagram, everybody in the I2M family, everybody in the 30-day challenge. We appreciate y'all, everybody watching on Facebook. We had a lot of people engaging on Facebook as well in the comments. So this has been very valuable across a lot of different platforms. So again, we appreciate you, Smitty. We appreciate everybody out there, and have a great evening. We'll see you soon. Take care. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Peace.